Ever wondered what really happened to Starlord's father, Ego? We all know him as the charismatic, living planet who tried to, well, take over the universe. But the story of Ego is far more tragic and complex than just a simple villain plot. It's a tale of cosmic loneliness, a desperate search for connection, and a path paved with countless forgotten children. Let's dive into the heartbreaking story behind Peter Quill's dad. To understand Ego, you have to grasp his origins. He wasn't born, he simply was. Imagine waking up as a disembodied brain, floating alone in the vast, silent emptiness of space for millions of years. No one to talk to, nothing to see, just an eternity of solitude. This unimaginable loneliness is the key to everything that follows. It forged his entire identity and drove his ultimate, twisted purpose. Eventually, through sheer force of will, Ego learned to manipulate the molecules around him. He built a protective shell, then a core, and finally, an entire planet to serve as his body and his home. It was a monumental achievement, a testament to his incredible power. But even with a beautiful world of his own creation, he was still alone. He was a god with no one to worship him, a king with no subjects. He craved connection, a reflection of himself in the universe. This yearning sparked a grand, ambitious plan he called the expansion. Ego's goal was to extend his consciousness across the cosmos by planting seedlings of himself on thousands of different worlds. Once these seedlings were activated, every planet would become part of him, and everything in the universe would finally be him. In his mind, it wasn't destruction, it was unification. It was the ultimate end to his loneliness. The universe would finally be in harmony, because it would all be one single being. But there was a catch. To activate all these seedlings at once, he needed the power of two celestials. He was one, but he needed another. And so began his cosmic quest for a child. Ego created a human-like avatar, a handsome extension of his consciousness, and traveled the stars. He journeyed from one world to the next, seeking out promising species and finding partners. He visited countless planets and had children with beings from all corners of the galaxy. He would arrive, trauma local, and plant not just a celestial seedling on the planet, but also the seed of a potential heir. Then, he would leave, promising to return. To many, like Peter Quill's mother, Meredith, he was a space angel, a beautiful, fleeting dream. But behind that charming facade was a cold, calculated purpose. Each time he fathered a child, he would hire the Ravager Yondu Adanta to abduct the child and bring them to his planet. Now, this is where the story turns truly dark. One by one, these children arrived on Ego's world, filled with hope or fear, to meet the father they never knew. Ego would test them, trying to awaken the celestial light, the divine power that lay dormant within them. Imagine being a child, taken from your home and brought to this strange, magical world. You meet your father, a being of immense power, and for a moment, you feel special. You feel chosen. But the test begins, and for almost all of them, nothing happens. They were just ordinary children. They didn't carry the celestial gene. And what happened to the children who failed the test? Ego, in his disappointment, saw them not as his offspring, but as failures. They were dead ends, reminders of his ongoing solitude. He couldn't let them go, couldn't risk them interfering with his plans. So, he extinguished their lives. The hope in their eyes would fade, replaced by the cold finality of their father's rejection. This is the hidden tragedy of Ego's story. We see the evidence in that horrifying cavern on his planet, where the Guardians discover the glowing skeletal remains of countless children. Each one was a life, a story, a universe of potential snuffed out because they couldn't fulfill their father's grand design. They were Ego's forgotten children, victims of his cosmic ambition and his inability to love anything that wasn't a perfect reflection of himself. Then came Peter Quill. Born to Meredith Quill on Earth, Peter was different. When Yondu was hired to pick him up, he made a choice that changed the fate of the galaxy. He had been delivering children to Ego for years, but he started to suspect something was wrong. So, instead of delivering Peter, Yondu kept him, raising him as a ravager. He saved Peter's life. Years later, when Ego finally found Peter, he saw what he had been searching for. Peter carried the celestial gene. He had the power. For a moment, it seemed like a dream come true for both of them. Peter finally had a father, a real family, and an explanation for who he was. Ego finally had his partner, the second celestial he needed to complete the expansion. Ego showed Peter the power they could wield together, the beauty of his plan. He tempted him with godhood, with purpose, with the promise of eternity. And Peter, who had spent his life feeling like an outsider, was almost seduced. He even helped Ego begin the activation process, momentarily losing himself in the intoxicating power. But the illusion shattered when Ego confessed the truth about Peter's mother. He admitted that he had to leave her. But when he realized his love for her might distract him from his mission, he made a cold, calculated decision. He put the tumor in her head that ended her life. He loved her, he claimed, but he chose his purpose over that love. In that moment, Peter saw his father for what he truly was, a monster. The man who gave him life also took away the person he loved most. The love Ego claimed to have was selfish and possessive. He didn't love Meredith, or Peter, or any of his other children. He only loved the idea of them, the purpose they could serve. The final battle wasn't just about saving the galaxy, it was about Peter Quill making a choice. He rejected the godhood Ego offered and chose his found family, the Guardians. He chose messy, imperfect, human connection over cold, divine loneliness. In the end, it was Peter's human heart, not his celestial power, that allowed him to defeat his father. By destroying Ego's core, Peter had to sacrifice his own celestial powers, becoming fully mortal. But as Yondu told him, he may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. Peter lost a father, but he finally understood who his real family was. The story of Ego is a cautionary tale about ambition devoid of empathy. He was a being of immense power who couldn't grasp the simple power of love. His forgotten children are a testament to his failure, not as a god, but as a father. Their tragic fate is the dark secret at the heart of the living planet. A legacy of bones that tells a story of what happens when the search for connection becomes a quest for control. Thanks for watching and exploring this tragic piece of Marvel history with me. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from behind the screen. Let me know in the comments what other character backstories you'd like to see uncovered. See you in the next one.